Thanks for joining us for Good Day Atlanta. Sherry is coming up next.
Stay connected to Fox 5 on our website, fox5atlanta.com, on Fox Local, and on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. That's at 107.9 HD2 FM.
And we are all over social media. You can like our Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page. You're welcome to follow us on Instagram and X at Fox 5 Atlanta. And be sure to subscribe to our Fox 5 Atlanta YouTube channel. And stick around for the news at noon. It's coming up in 1 hour, followed by Portia at 1. Have a terrific Tuesday, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for being with us on the stream on this, I believe, December 2nd. Hope your morning is off to a great start. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to head to YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to Fox 5 Atlanta. And you can watch the live stream on there as well. But leave us your comments if you've got questions about any of the stories that we're following or just want to weigh in. I'm going to be checking that throughout the show, and I'm going to be reading some of your comments if you leave those for us as well. So just a little deal there. But want to get you now to the big story that we're following for you this morning. A manhunt is underway right now, and this is for the escaped Rockdale County inmate. This manhunt is heating up, so the details are coming out of the search. If you're like me, it's going to leave you scratching your head at this point. So you may have questions. Be sure again to post those in the chat. We'll try to get to those. But our Aungelique Proctor is joining us to hopefully sort some of this out for us. So Aungelique, good morning to you. I want to start with this. Our newsroom learned an Uber is somehow involved in all of this. So walk us through what we know about right now, Aungelique.
Well, good morning to you, Elise. And yes, this story has had so many twists and turns. It is sort of unbelievable. Of course, it started as an inmate escape at Grady Memorial Hospital in downtown Atlanta. And as you said, most recently has ended, well, not ended, but the middle twist and turn now is that this escaped inmate apparently called an Uber. Rockdale County officials have confirmed that for us into this area, into South Rockdale County. However, they were not able to catch up with him at that time. And of course, that is going to be the question that so many people have. How does an escaped inmate call an Uber? And that is the question that we look for investigators to answer for us. Now, we do know that this involves multiple agencies at this point because this escaped inmate, Timothy Shane, was last seen in Henry County. So, of course, it started in Atlanta. He was originally from Rockdale, spotted in Henry. So lots of different agencies collaborating on this one. But in Henry County is where investigators discovered a stolen silver Pontiac Grand Prix, and that was at a Publix grocery store parking lot on Highway 155. Now, from there, investigators confirmed that suspect Shane ordered that Uber to a house in South Rockdale County. But of course, this all started yesterday when suspect Shane slipped out of custody at Grady Memorial Hospital. He was there for a mental health evaluation after a reported suicide attempt. Let's take a listen.
When he originally fled from Grady, he was still wearing his hospital gown with no shoes. We have reason to believe, although we can't confirm it, that he is currently now wearing a red hooded sweatshirt with tan pants. Given the time and the weather conditions, there's a good chance that he might be wearing tennis shoes as well. Was able to get some shoes maybe from a homeless camp.
Now, Rockdale County Sheriff's officials confirmed that they actually secured a search warrant and searched the home where he supposedly took the Uber, but they did not find him there. And as we just heard the lieutenant say, they do believe that he now has on a red sweatshirt and pants and apparently has on shoes. So they're asking everybody to be on the lookout for this red hooded sweatshirt and dark pants to see if you notice anything in this Rockdale County area. Another thing we wanted to tell you is a little bit about how tall he is. They're saying he's 5 feet 9 inches tall, has a buzzed haircut, but certainly if you see him, you are asked to give Rockdale County Sheriff's officials a call. Elise?
Yeah, Aungelique, they're mentioning too, he's armed and dangerous, so that's an important part of this. But let's go back a little bit. I mean, what were those charges that he was initially facing?
The charges that he was initially facing, I'm still trying to gather, but like you said, he definitely did have a weapon on him, and he is considered armed and dangerous. So this is not anyone that you want to walk up to and handle yourself. You definitely want to give authorities a call.
Yeah, certainly some new information coming out of all of this, and most importantly, the search continues for this inmate on the run. So Aungelique, this is the story that you're going to be working on all morning, and we'll be following whatever you find for us for the very latest. So Aungelique, thanks so much for taking time to check in with us. We appreciate it. All right, getting you caught up now on some other big stories that we're following for you this morning. The Secret Service is now helping out as part of the investigation into that deadly shooting that happened outside of a CVS store in Loganville. You may remember this one, a terrible, terrible crime. 62-year-old Kimberly Whaley, who was a pharmacy employee there at that CVS, was shot and killed in the store's parking lot. Police did end up detaining a person of interest. That person, though, was later released, they say, due to a lack of evidence to charge them. But here's what we've heard from the Loganville police chief. They released a statement saying officials are intentionally withholding details to protect the integrity of the investigation. So again, the Secret Service is now assisting in that investigation out of Lawrenceville. And now to Athens. That's where police say a man shot a woman inside of a dentist office and then later turned the gun on himself. So this happened at about 6:30 at the office on Baxter Street. The woman was rushed to the hospital. Police, though, still haven't been able to tell us how she's doing or the very latest on that. But we do know the man, identified as 74-year-old Carl Clark, ended up making a run for it. Police say they finally caught up with him in Butts County. They tried to pull him over, but they say that during the traffic stop, he shot himself. Now, according to police, Clark was in stable condition at last check, which was yesterday. So they're still waiting or actually they're calling what happened an act of domestic violence, saying the two knew each other. Clark has been charged with aggravated assaults, aggravated battery, and criminal attempt to commit murder. Well, now to another big story that we're following. Might have heard us talk about this. It is Election Day here, so give me just a moment to update this for you. Let's talk about where we are seeing these elections happening and who exactly this is for. So Fulton County voters are deciding a number of municipal office runoff elections for several key local races. So we're talking the contest for mayor, for city council, school board seat is in there, and this is for Atlanta, for Sandy Springs, Roswell, East Point, Stonecrest, and the city of South Fulton as well. So again, these races are just as important as the ones in the midterms and the primaries. So if you are planning to cast your vote, make sure that you check ahead of time on where your polling place is and on the times for those as well. We've got a link for how you can do that at fox5atlanta.com. So make sure you check your status before you head on out. Well, this is another story. I mean, it's like the visual of this is pretty crazy. So if you're not looking at your screen, it's a good time to do so. This is in DeKalb County. It's that massive sinkhole that opened up on a road yesterday, caused by a water main break on Midway Road. This is right near Memorial as well. So yesterday morning, all Decatur City School students got sent home early because there were sanitation concerns. Class is back in session for them today, though, but the road is still closed. They've got a lot of work to do, and really the weather has not been helping them out when it comes to this either. So if you're in the area, the water might still be brown. And DeKalb County Watershed Management is saying that all you should have to do to get that cleared up is to run the water to hopefully flush that out. And they're saying that there's no harm, no foul there. So they're saying just run the water to clear the line out if that's something that's impacting you. Okay, so now I've got an update, and it's official. All Gainesville high school football players who were suspended after that big fight. I know you've seen the video of this by now. Happened between them and some players at Brunswick High School. Many of them were suspended, but the Georgia High School Association is saying the game must go on, and they've made a ruling in this. So the quarterfinal for that delayed 5A high school football playoff, that's now taking place this Friday. Was supposed to happen last Friday, but it comes after the controversy of that big fight between Gainesville and Brunswick and the subsequent 39 player suspensions. So 5 of those suspensions were later lifted, but Gainesville scored a bigger off-field victory, and this is what so many people were watching to see what their ruling on this would be. GHSA ruled all of those suspended players will be eligible to play this weekend. So some really big news as they prepare for the 5A high school championship that's happening this weekend. So by now, I'm guessing if it was you, then you already know, but I'll share the news with the rest of us that probably didn't wake up big winners. A lucky Georgian is waking up a millionaire. Lottery officials say that last night's $1 million Powerball ticket was sold right here in the Peach State, which you gotta love. I haven't heard exactly where it was sold, and that's always a fun detail to come out of it. But let's take a look at the numbers. Actually, they're on your screen. We've got 5, 18, 26, 47, 59, and the Powerball was won. So whoever got that $1 million was able to match all of those except for the red ball. So they missed the one, which means $1 million richer this morning. So let's get into some of the details of this. That the winner, actually without a jackpot winner, the prize has now climbed to $775 million. If you just want to take the lump sum, that's about $362.5 million. And the revenue generated by Georgia's lottery fund, it funds educational programs. We're talking everything from the Hope Scholarship that we hear so much about to Georgia's voluntary pre-K program as well. And on Monday, Governor Kemp said the lottery has generated more than $30 billion for education since ticket sales started in 1993. That is certainly impressive. The next drawing is tomorrow night if you're feeling lucky. So I don't know. I always say, you know, that I need to remember to play, and it hits close to home when it's someone in Georgia. So just keep that in mind. You have time to get those tickets in place to play the lottery tomorrow and hopefully take home that big jackpot. Well, still ahead for you this morning, we've got a really great story talking about veterans and homelessness and how the numbers are actually improving when it comes to getting those veterans into a home. So I'll check in with one of the power forces behind making all of that happen in just a few minutes. Stick around. welcome back, everyone. We're happy to have you with us on this Tuesday. So we've got some good news to share here. New numbers from the Department of Veterans Affairs are showing the largest drop in veteran homelessness in 7 years. So that's certainly a milestone. And the chief of social work at the Atlanta VA healthcare system, we have Kimberly Whitmoyer is joining us now just to talk a little bit about this and how they were able to accomplish this. So Kimberly, thank you so much for being on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's dive into this. I mean, this is a really big deal, and it's one of the best performances that the VA has seen in years. So, I mean, what does this feel like for you and the team? I know a lot of work has been put into the number that we're able to share here, so I'm sure it's good to hear about this milestone that's been reached.
I'm really proud of our team and our homeless program. We have community partners, our clinical staff, our outreach staff have really worked very hard to get out into the community and to find veterans who need housing. We were challenged for the last 2 years by VA Central Office to increase the numbers of beds that we could, the numbers of veterans that we could house, and we've exceeded our goal this year by 157%. So we were really delighted to tell you that we were able to get 747 additional veterans into permanent housing last year. That includes housing, case management, access to health care, and assistance with remaining stable in their homes. So I'm very proud of our team, but it's not just a VA effort. We have a lot of community partners that work with us here from the Housing Authority, and we are so happy that we can bring you this information.
Yeah, of course. And we're going to talk about some of those community partners here in just a little bit. But I want to zoom in on those numbers in Atlanta that you were just talking about. You know, 157% of the goal. I mean, what's allowed you guys to be able to exceed the goal like that?
So I think we have to link it back to our really vigorous outreach efforts, as well as our linkages with our community partners. But really, it's been our fantastic homeless program staff. They really have taken this on and have looked at the opportunities that we've been given, including an additional 50 vouchers this year that we were given to utilize in the community. They've done everything they can to look at breaking down barriers to housing, because, you know, as we know, in Metro Atlanta, we do have very high housing costs. So they've really worked to make connections and partnerships with landlords and to do everything they can to reduce barriers to veterans getting in permanent housing.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the new tracking method here, because that matters as well when it comes to the findings of all of this. So the VA has a newer way of counting, from what I understand, and it focuses on unique veterans housed instead of placement. So why is that particular distinction so important, Kimberly?
We use the unique veterans housed because we want to identify how we've made a change in that individual veteran's course over the course of a year, as they may go through multiple of our housing programs. And we are focusing on our number on people who are getting into a permanent place of housing versus some of our transitional resources.
Mm-hmm. So this is something that you know well, the barriers that veterans are facing when it comes to homelessness. Can you share some of those with us and just what you've seen?
Yeah, some of the barriers are, that they may have untreated chronic issues. They may not be ready for housing. So that's one of our efforts, is that we work on creating relationships with veterans in the community. Our outreach team do. Veterans may not be at a place where they're able to accept housing resources. So we make sure that they know that we're available and can come back to us when they're ready. We work on getting them treatment for chronic mental or physical illnesses, for addictions. We work on helping them with working on their credit, with getting the documentation they need. And of course, the biggest issue is often helping them link up to affordable housing resources with landlords and resources in the community, so that they can find what they need, because it can be very difficult to do a housing search with those kind of parameters when you have limited access to the resources. So we have housing specialists, we have case managers who are working with them one-on-one to make sure that they erase the barriers, work on sometimes, credit repair, getting them to our community partners who help with things like move-in expenses. Mm-hmm. Those are all things that we work on to allow veterans to
I'm so glad you mentioned all of that, because this is so much more than just homelessness. I mean, it's everything you just said. You've mentioned, helping them repair their credit, which is a huge part, right, of getting into a home and being permanently housed. So good to hear that those things are being addressed as well. Kimberly, let's talk about the Getting Veterans Off the Street initiative, what that is, and how it really changed the game for us here in Atlanta.
So yeah, that is one of the current initiatives that has really pressed us to do more things that we've been asked to do, surge events. So some of you guys in the community may have been to some of our surge events. We have had multiple surge events this year, and we have more planned for the year, where we bring the community partners together in a place, and we bring veterans there. We do screenings on site. We bring resources to the veterans so that they're not having to go to multiple sources to get what they need, and that has been a really valuable tool for us. We've had on our surge events, we've had more than 40 community partners who participated and screened 180 veterans over 3 days, which was an amazing experience for us, and it was a very positive experience for the veterans. We got uniformly positive feedback about that.
I've loved your shout outs to the community that's helping to make all of this happen, because it's so much bigger than just y'all. It takes a lot of people to be able to house these veterans. So really important to be able to recognize them as well. So give us an idea of what this looks like, the immediate support. You encounter a veteran who is homeless. What happens next?
So a lot of times we will get like a phone call from the community, and it'll be somebody who's concerned about someone who is a homeless veteran who may be staying in a commercial area. And so we have 2 outreach staff who will go out and actually assess the veteran in the place. Oftentimes the veteran may or may not be ready to engage, but they make sure that they have contact information, that they give them resources if they need things like, immediate access to clothing or food. And then if they are ready to engage, we will start them on the process of getting them evaluated, getting them physicals, getting them their immediate needs met, and working on getting an intake appointment for them. We have some resources that we use through our grant per diem program and other programs where we can have them housed while they're getting the intensive case management services they need for permanent housing.
So all encompassing, a lot happens when these veterans are identified and to help, eventually get them into a permanent placement. So we may have some viewers that are watching right now, Kimberly, that want to find a way to help. So what would you say to those who want to find some meaningful way to be able to help in this process, to help a veteran who's in need of a home?
Well, I think we have provided you guys with our outreach number, and you guys anybody is welcome to call and let us know if they have a veteran that specifically that they're trying to help, an individual veteran. If you would like to help with the resources for our veterans, our Center for our community development program, our voluntary service, is happy to accept resources and volunteer support for the events that we put on, and we are delighted to have the community engage in those as well. So.
Very nice. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Kimberly, and job well done to you and to everyone who's a part of the team that's making this all happen. I mean, you talk about a 7-year milestone, and that's certainly something to be proud of. So we appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Of course. Kimberly Whitmoyer, Chief of Social Work at the Atlanta VA Healthcare System. Kimberly, thank you again. Okay, let's take a live look outside on this Tuesday morning. You seeing that, right? It's lots of hazy. It's hazy, that is, and seeing some raindrops on the camera as well. So let's check in with our meteorologist, Jonathan Stacy, for a look at what's happening outside now and what's happening throughout the day. Jonathan?
The clouds are going to stick around, but the rain has already exited the area, so there's a bit of improvement in the forecast.
Good.
But an improvement that you'll only feel in terms of, or see, not feel. As we get into the latter part of the day, the temperatures, they're not really moving much. And so most numbers across the area are in the 40s. But this morning, no, we're dealing with temperatures that are hanging out in the 50s.
Which makes it weird, because it's that thing, it's like you need a rain jacket, or you did this morning, but it's so cold that it's got to be like your heavier jacket. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just like your traditional rain jacket that's going to cut it.
Exactly. No, exactly. You move from one jacket to the other.
Right. You get it.
I must admit, there's something going on with our weather computer here, so we're going to try to see what's going on. But we can talk it out in the meantime. So if you were worried about rain today, no, worries aside.
Good.
The rain is gone. It's just a damp ground. In fact, many communities got somewhere near an inch of rainfall, higher amounts to the east of the city, but at Hartsville-Jackson, we got more than an inch of rain.
Wow.
over a relatively short period of time, considering that we got to sleep through it all. Most of us were not hit with showers unless you were an early riser before the sun. So as you can see here now, that big area of low pressure is now moving right on across and out of our neck of the woods, and it is really plaguing the eastern seaboard with rain from the Carolinas up into the mid-Atlantic. But I want to show you this, Elise. It's a really big time snowmaker along and near the Great Lakes, across the Ohio River Valley into the interior northeast. We're looking at big-time snowfall amounts as far south as Louisville, Kentucky.
Wow.
And you can see here that system swept across the area. Chicago already got their due earlier in the week, and this was round 2. And this system is going to continue to spit out some pretty hefty rainfall amounts, once again, for the interior northeast. So if you have travel plans that take you in that direction, it's going to be a dicey day to go northward. Either you'll be dealing with the wetter weather across the mid-Atlantic, but as you get in and along the I-95 corridor and for points to the west, you'll have to deal with snow on the ground. Meanwhile, here at home, temperatures have staked out in the 40s, and they don't want to budge. In fact, we have numbers here in the city around 46 degrees, and you'll see that there are a few straggling showers. 44 in Blairsville. You've managed to make it to 50 degrees there in LaGrange, but these numbers, they're not really on the move for today. As we look backwards once more, many communities have somewhere between about a ½ inch to an inch of rainfall on the ground. In terms of the temperature, the mercury is going to struggle to climb today. We'll spend the bulk of the day in the 40s with a hope of hitting 50 degrees here in the metro before the day's said and done. In terms of the communities that may break out the 50s, it's going to be kind of a sharp divide along and near the I-85 corridor. If you're anywhere near Eaton, Covington, Griffin, Thomaston, your temperatures have the chance of closing in close to the 60-degree mark, but the further to the north and to the west you go, the temperatures will stake out in the low 50s. But everybody everywhere, no matter how high you go today, will drop down into the 20s overnight. It's going to be a very chilly start to the morning, and as we typically do after we move a cold front through, we start driving up the winds. Those winds will be felt before the sun goes down. In fact, we could have gusts topping 20-25 miles an hour as we go through the post-sunset period into the overnight hours of your Wednesday morning. Those winds will not wear down, so the wind chill is a factor. Feeling like 32 degrees as early as 8 o'clock tonight. That's here in the city. Go up to northeast Georgia, you have feels like numbers in the lower 20s, and then by tomorrow morning you'll need a really thick jacket to bear these numbers that you'll see. 26 degrees, it feels like a number in the metro area. 27, it feels like a number in the mountains. When you put it all together, we are going to bring in some calmer and brighter weather, but it's all temporary, Elise. Let's take a look at your 7-day forecast here. You can see that there is some sunshine that makes a return after a very chilly start to Wednesday morning, but we're going to have to savor the sunshine, bottle it up, because by Thursday the clouds are back in place, and from those clouds we'll have a few passing showers. The temperatures overall, there's not a regime change in the air mass. We're going to stay fairly cool and below average for this time of the year. Average is typically the upper 50s for the first week of December here in Atlanta. By Friday we'll bring back more sizable rain chances, and those chances carry over into Saturday. I know many folks focusing on what will be happening at the Bends at 4 p.m. We got a big game coming up as Alabama sweeps across the state line. Hopefully we'll hold them in place to meet Georgia for the big SEC championship. That said, it looks like there could be some rain to start, but hopefully we'll wrap the rain up by game's end.
Okay, so could be a game, though, where we have that, which I imagine this time of year they probably would anyway, but maybe a roof closed kind of game, perhaps?
I would err on the side of caution and close the roof there, because either the ground will be wet prior to the game or you'll get doused during the game.
There you go. Okay, so you know what, as far as sunshine, we've definitely seen better weeks. There's not a whole lot of...
This week is kind of a doozy. You're going to have to pack your own energy, your own sunshine, have your own get up and go, because there's not going to be a sun peeking through the window to wake you up in the mornings and get you outside. No need to really rush out of work or school, because this is what you have.
Much,
you're not missing much. And even the sunshine that we get will be a bit deceptive by sight, because it's going to still be chilly even when the sun pokes his head out tomorrow and during the second half of the weekend. Sunday looks pretty nice, but 56 degrees, once again, still below average for what will be the first Sunday in December.
Good to know. All right, meteorologist Jonathan Stacy with us. Jonathan, thank you. We appreciate it. And we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Let's get to some national headlines that we are on top of for you this morning, beginning with this one happening today in New York City. Luigi Mangione, of course, he's the man charged with killing the CEO of United Healthcare last year. Well, he's back in court. So this is actually day 2 of the suppression hearing in the murder case that he's facing. So Mangione's attorneys are asking the court to dismiss evidence and statements that he made to the Altoona, Pennsylvania police after that initial arrest. They claim he wasn't read his Miranda rights before he started talking to those officers. They also say the items found in the backpack he was carrying when he was taken were seized without a warrant. So Mangione is accused of murdering Brian Thompson last December. Back in September, the judge overseeing the case threw out a charge for first-degree murder and murder as an act of terrorism charges. So he's being currently held in the federal custody in Brooklyn. And you guys, these suppression hearings could last for days. So again, we are on day 2 of the suppression hearing in the murder case that Luigi Mangione is facing. We'll keep you posted on what happens with that. Well, now to one that's also getting a lot of questions and folks looking into this, wondering if it affects them. We're talking about changes being made to SNAP. So 42 million Americans rely on food stamps. Here's what you need to know about those changes. USDA says it's overhauling the whole system. They say it's to cut waste, to cut fraud, and to cut abuse. So just a few weeks ago, if you remember, SNAP nearly ran out of funding during that recent government shutdown. And let's talk about the numbers and what we're seeing here. So it cost just over $100 billion last year to keep things up and running when it comes to SNAP. Average benefit is about $190 a month per person, or about $356 per household, and then each state is responsible for handling the distribution of the funds. So the USDA says that that's where some of the problems are stemming from. They say 186,000 people listed as deceased are still getting benefits, and there are 356,000 duplicate enrollments, and so it's a lot of money that's on the table there. They're saying for those who are deceased and for those who those duplicate enrollments. So they're saying right now everyone has to reapply. And as of yesterday, there are some new rules, some new requirements for those who will receive these SNAP benefits. One of the big changes is the age range for work requirements. That's jumped from 54 to 64. So what that means is that more people have to work. They have to train or volunteer at least 80 hours a month to keep their benefits. The Congressional Budget Office says this could cut SNAP rolls by as much as 2.4 million people over the next decade. And these are some of the biggest changes that we've seen for SNAP in years. Millions of people could be impacted. You may be one of them. So if you need to hear a little bit more about this and just figure out if you are one of those who should expect some changes, we've got the full article. All the information that you need can be found at fox5atlanta.com, a very comprehensive list of these changes that are headed your way. Okay, it looks like now we are going to take a live look at the White House. And just to tell you why, it's because any minute now, President Trump will be meeting with his cabinet. So we're hoping that we can get some of those remarks to you live here on the stream. And then a little bit later today, he is also expected to make an announcement at 2 p.m. We don't have any word just yet on what that announcement could be about. Again, it's supposed to happen at 2. So we'll keep an eye on this cabinet meeting and bring you anything that may come from that. So be sure to stick around for that right now. Something else that's happening, it is Giving Tuesday, which is a big one. So the holiday actually started back in 2012 as just a way to get people to donate to things that matter to them, to organizations that matter to them. So widely celebrated by many charities and nonprofits. I mean, for many of them, this is the biggest day of contributions that they receive. So it's a great thing, but unfortunately, it's also a really big day for scammers. So you have to be mindful of where your donation is actually going. So a little bit of help if you're wanting to donate and avoid a scam. Research and confirm a charity's name and check independent ratings before you give. Experts say you should also avoid groups that are asking for gift cards, wire transfers, Cash App payments. They say those are absolute no's if you're planning on giving on this Giving Tuesday. As they say, it's because they're hard to trace and recover in the event that you do find out that you were defrauded. So just avoid any organization that's asking you to give in that way. And the big reminder for us, be generous, but be safe always, but especially on this Giving Tuesday. Okay, our time is 11:36, and we're back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Happy to have you with us on this Tuesday. Okay, if you're wanting to explore daycare for your child or maybe thinking of trying a new facility, then make sure you stick around because this is absolutely for you. Some kinder care centers are offering a free day of care during the month of December. So we have to get you the details on this. And to do that, we are joined by Julie Barn with Kinder Care on how folks can take advantage of this. So Julie, thank you so much for being on with us. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Hi. So this is really interesting. I feel like we've all heard of a lot of things. I've never heard of this before. So this is huge. A free day of childcare is a pretty big gift for parents. So tell me the idea behind this.
Yes, well, this is called the gift of time. And at Kinder Care, we know this is a busy time of year. And we are here to support those hardworking families across Georgia. We want to give them the opportunity to come in for a free day of care. This is for new families, and we have close to 30 centers in the metro Atlanta area. And this is for families who just might need some time to catch up on some work. Maybe they just need some rest or doctor's appointments, or they need that really important time to get together for families. So families just need to go to kindercare.com, find the kinder care closest to you, reach out, and we will get you set up for a free day of care. It's a great opportunity to get to know your local kinder care, and we would be just so excited to get to know you and your family.
Yeah, so this is cool. I love the name of this, the gift of time. So share with me a little bit about what you're hearing from parents. I'm guessing there's a reason, right, that you chose that name. You know that there's certainly a need there in families to have care that they can trust for their child. So, I mean, what are you hearing people about why that gift of time matters so much?
Well, the gift of time matters because it is a busy time. And also, in addition to giving families that day that they need, it lets them get to know the center and to build trust. You know, extra time before making perhaps that final child care decision on which center is best for them and their family. So the children can come in for a free day of care. They're going to engage in learning, in hands-on activities, creative arts, outdoor play, all the fun things that come along with kinder care, meals and snacks to help build confidence for the families during that day so that when they make their decision to join us, they already know us very, very well. We know how important it is for families to have a provider that they can trust. Families need to go to work. They need to be able to go out and enjoy their day, knowing that their child is in a safe and nurturing environment. And we want this free gift of time to be the beginning of a very long relationship with those families.
So, Julie, you mentioned that this free day, this gift of time, is for new families that are new to kinder care. So that's a very important designation that we can't stress enough. This is for new families. But what can parents expect when they walk into one of your facilities? Maybe this is their first time, you know, dealing with preschool, with daycare, and they don't know what to expect.
Okay. Well, when you walk in, you're going to be greeted by one of our wonderful managers. And when you come in, we are all participating in NACI accreditation. So you'll notice that in our lobbies. We are all participating in the quality rated system in Georgia. We also have security doors for our premises. We have menus up for families. But when you're walking in, we want you to notice just that family feel. When you come in, we have a leader at the center that's going to be there to answer all of your questions, help you get signed in, take you to the classroom, introduce you to all of our teachers so that you can see what takes place during the day. We have schedules for each of our classrooms so you can see the routine for the children. You can ask questions about the curriculum and the menu, but it's going to be a very warm and welcoming, friendly environment, because the questions you think you may have if it's your first time visiting a child care center may change when you actually walk through those doors.
I'm so glad you mentioned some of what kids are going to be doing that day, and the fact that there is a curriculum and just some of the fun and enriching activities for them. I think one thing that would surprise people, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the one that's with kinder care, but that understanding it's so much more than just a daycare, that there are so many enriching programs and your child has the opportunity to learn so much. So talk to us a little bit about that, Julie.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for the month of December, many of our themes focus on friends and family, right, as you might expect. So in our programs, in addition to outdoor play, we also have creative arts and lots of hands-on learning. When you walk into our learning centers, you will notice we have lots of educational toys and equipment, and they are very specifically arranged into learning centers because there are two very large portions of the day that we have mapped out for children to explore the learning centers within the classroom, because as we know, children learn best through play. You will see small group activities taking place, whether it be through reading time or small group activities in math and literacy. And you're also going to see large group time. You might know that also as maybe calendar time or circle time. But then there's always also going to be that center choice time where the children get to choose their learning activities throughout the room. And all of those activities, the teacher-based activities, the child-based activities, those work together to help build confidence for your child. Everything we do is about building confidence for life, not only for our children, but also for our families. And it is busy. It is going to be fun and exciting. You're going to hear lots of laughter and lots of conversation.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the enriching programs and just what kids will learn, but it's also fun. I got to tell you, I drive past the Dunwoody Kinder Care every day with my kids, and they always are trying to stop and play on y'all's playground because it looks so fun, and the kids are all having a good time outside. So that matters too, that your kid has fun while they're learning at the same time. So let me ask you one more question, Julie, before I let you go. For maybe someone watching and they want to take advantage of this, or maybe they have a daughter who wants to take advantage of this, a son, a grandchild, what are the steps that they need to take if they want to take advantage of this one free day that's running, I believe, through December 31st, right?
It absolutely is running through the end of December. What families need to do, they need to find their local kinder care, and you can go to kindercare.com. And once you have that information, we do have a couple ways you can reach out. You can reach out via phone, or you can reach out online, and one of our directors will get with you quickly so that we can get that free day set up. All families need to do is mention the gift of time, and our directors will help you and take it from there.
So good to know about this. Hopefully folks take advantage of this during the month of December. Julie Barn with Kinder Care, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this with us today, Julie.
Thank you.
Of course, we appreciate it. All right, so you've heard us mention this a couple of times. It is Giving Tuesday, so I want to talk about something special that's happening today. It's a toy drive, and the goal of this is to provide holiday gifts for foster children across Georgia, so a really important cause. And our Chris Rosenthal is joining us live this morning with who's putting this on, with goals that are here, and with why this is so important. So, hey, Chris, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so I'm live here in Atlanta. This is a really a festive event going on this morning. It's put on by the Wealthy Group, a real estate firm here in Atlanta. You know, the foster care system in Georgia is facing about an $85 million deficit, and while that's tough to overcome, this group is planning to adopt 28 foster families, provide them with gifts and some donations, and that's why they're having this brunch here today to raise money and collect gifts and collect toys. And there's a very special story that kind of goes along with this as well. And I am joined by Terry Marie Gleaton here. She is with the Wealthy Group, and this is her idea and her leadership team as well.
In April, we're with the Wealthy Group. Come on now.
As you can see, they're having fun out here, and this is a good cause. But you know, this is for a serious cause here, and talk to me about, you know, this idea and why we're here.
Yes, so the foster care system right now in Georgia is suffering an $85 million deficit. I grew up in the foster care system. I know what it's like to go without toys, without clothes, even hunger. So being in real estate, I've been in real estate in Atlanta for 2 decades, and the real estate industry has just given me so much. So me and my amazing organizations, my great leaders, we decided to come together to help another nonprofit organization raise funds and a toy drive for foster care children here in Georgia.
You know, talk to me a little bit about your backstory, and you know, you mentioned it a little bit, but just tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, so I was raised on a Native American reservation in Oklahoma for the first 6 years of my life. After that, I went into the foster care system. I became an orphan. I moved around from orphanage and to several foster care homes. And eventually, I went on Wednesday's Child with my baby brother, and we were adopted. But on that Wednesday's Child, before I knew I was getting adopted, I received my first toy. I've never had a toy before that day. I was 8 years old, and I received a Snoopy doll. That doll represented so much hope for me, and I know that's what we're going to do today.
And it actually seems, it's kind of cool here. I was just noticing behind you, we actually do have a Snoopy doll.
Yes, we do.
Did you bring this one?
I did not. Somebody in the group brought Snoopy.
Oh, that's very appropriate. But it really does mean a lot to them to have toys, and you're also raising donations and funds, because it's more than just toys that they need.
That's right. So we're raising funds through.
Yes, we're raising funds so that Christmas can. So that families can have Christmas dinner. There are families that have bought toys that can't afford dinner, so now they're going to have dinner with our donations.
And we're raising funds and toys through December the 8th. So we have a while to go. So if you still want to collect and bring, we are still accepting donations and toys.
Yeah, if people do want to jump in and donate and help out, what can they do?
They can go to WGGivingTuesday.com. WG for the wealthy group. WGGivingTuesday.com. You can donate money, you can still purchase toys all the way through December 8th, and they will make a difference in a child's life.
How does this make you guys feel?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I think we've all been teary-eyed. I think we've all just been so mushy and just so happy. It makes us happy.
Absolutely. So yeah, so you can still donate and go to their website. And is there certain ages that you're looking for here?
All ages, all the way, even teenagers. You know, teenagers need love. Come on now.
Wonderful, yeah, and they'll be out here having their brunch till about 2 or so.
Yes, that's right. We're enjoying brunch today. We're in this amazing space provided to us by WEOP. We had some great donations. One of our mortgage partners donated $1,000, and we're still collecting all the way through December 8th.
Do you have a goal, a number?
Listen, we want to make sure that all 28 families are taken care of. That's the goal.
Gotcha. Wonderful. So there you have it. So lots of toys, and hoping to grow this pile some more here.
Yeah, good to see. It looks like there's already a pretty good stash, but good to know that toys are still being accepted. That website is up on your screen right now if you'd like to give monetarily, or just find out where you can donate one of those toys as well. So Chris Rosenthal live for us this morning. A very, very important cause, hopefully making a lot of kids and a lot of families happy this holiday season. So Chris, thank you so much for that. All right, if you're just joining us, you might be wondering what we can expect weather-wise today. Ooh, kind of ominous, isn't it? Looking out at that live picture of the city, seeing quite a bit of fog and some leftover raindrops on the camera there as well. But I talked to our meteorologist, Jonathan Stacy, and here's a few reminders that he gave me to give you for today if you're just now joining us. So mostly cloudy, breezy, a pretty cool afternoon. I think cool is saying it lightly. It's cold outside. We'll spend most of the day in the 40s with some breaks in the clouds. possibly by the end of the day, which is good. I think the rain for the most part has happened and has made its way out, but colder 20s to start tomorrow morning, and it should be mostly sunny and fairly quiet for the rest of the day. Clouds and some showers return, though, on Thursday, but the next big wave of rain should mostly impact Friday. So certainly not the brightest week. And Jonathan told us if you see some sunshine, make sure that you take advantage of that. Okay, let's take a quick look and listen in right now. The president is holding a cabinet meeting, so let's listen in for just a moment.
Affordability. She had no idea. Their prices were much higher. As an example, energy, gasoline, we're now at about $2.50 a gallon. We're going to be, I think, at $2 a gallon. We could even crack that at some point. I'd love to do it. And we could do it more easily if we weren't building up the strategic national reserves, which Biden emptied out before the election so that he could try and get elected, meaning he started it, then he got thrown out of the race, and she took over and she kept it going, and they emptied out these strategic national reserves, which are really meant for something else. They're not meant to keep people happy with their gasoline price. They're meant for war. They're meant for problems, big problems. He emptied it out, and then she continued it during the process of trying to get elected. Didn't work out too well for him. And they virtually brought it down to the lowest level, I believe, in history. And it didn't have much of an impact because the prices were very high. But our prices now for energy, but for gasoline, are really low. Electricity's coming down. And when that comes down, everything comes down. But affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it, and then they go into the next subject. And everyone thinks, oh, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Now, some people will correct me, because I always love to correct me, even though I'm right about everything. But some people like to correct me, and they say 48 years. I say it's not 48 years, it's much more. But they say it's the worst inflation that we've had in 48 years. I say ever. But whether it's 48 years or ever, it's pretty bad. We had the worst inflation that we've ever had. Since last January, we've stopped inflation in its tracks. And there's still more to do. There's always more to do, but we have it down to a very good level. It's going to go down a little bit further. You want to have a little tiny bit of inflation, otherwise that's not good either. Then you have a thing called deflation, and deflation can be worse than inflation. But we have it almost, we'll soon be at a perfect level, but we inherited the worst inflation. But we have 20 states that are now selling gasoline at less than the $2.75 think of that, $2.75, and it was at $5 under Sleepy Joe. Grocery prices are down with the cost of Thanksgiving turkey this year down 33%. It was lower than 33% lower than under the Biden administration. Egg prices are way down.
All right, we're listening into this cabinet meeting. We hear President Trump right there. And just a quick reminder, he is expected to make an announcement today at 2 p.m. Don't know quite what he'll be talking about, but of course, we'll bring you the very latest on what the president has to say at 2 p.m. So thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday, this Giving Tuesday. The news at noon is next. Take care.